Hey, what's up, guys? What's going on? This is Daniel. Been a real long time since I've been here. Sorry, I apologize for that. Been so preoccupied with school and with work that I've kind of neglected my little side job as a music reviewer. Um, there's been so many good quality albums that have been releasing in the past 2 months that I have not been able to get to. Um, you know how life is, got a lot going on, so at least now I've finally been able to do a review for an album that I'm really anticipating for. And yeah, thank you for tuning in. I'm gonna still try to be consistent. I don't think I'm gonna be doing 5 albums per month like I was in the beginning. I might do maybe 2 or 3. I'll just try to see what I can get to. Just when I have spare time and when I'm not so busy. And I was gonna do Kendrick Lamar's To Pimp a Butterfly. This has been an album that's been receiving a lot of rave. So yeah, here we go. Kendrick Lamar is a Compton MC who has risen to fame and received an overwhelming amount of exposure, and has been pretty much praised and dubbed as the king and savior of mainstream hip-hop within the last 3 to 4 years. And he is by far one of my favorite MCs who has come from the West Coast. Everything that this guy spits is so believable, and it has such an authentic quality to it that it's pretty much mind-blowing to me. He's an accomplished and fairly skilled lyricist and poet who has all the ingredients to change the mindset of hip-hop listeners, but also society itself, and to alter the way we think and the way we function as a culture itself. And basically, Section 80 was his initial studio album release. That was his initial glimpse of his capabilities and artistic persona, which pretty much showcased his drive and his full determination to emerge into the rap scene. Its successor, Good Kid, Mad City, therefore was Kendrick's first project that led him to success, and even led him to receive more of a mainstream presence, and that he was able to do it without dumbing down or watering down his style, his lyrics, and his subject matter, and still sticking to his roots. It was a highly deep, intense, influential album that was really hard-hitting throughout its entirety, and had such a powerful message throughout. Good Kid, Mad City also showed Kendrick's development and growth as an artist, and that he's finally coming to his own and establishing his own versatility and his own niche too. Some tracks were introspective and dark, while others were instantly catchy and radio friendly. Due to all this anticipation and praise from the album, I was very intrigued to see what type of route and direction he was going to go with To Pimp a Butterfly. I was curious to see if he was going to resort to more of a mainstream radio friendly approach, or he was going to make something a little bit more unexpected and unorthodox to a mainstream hip-hop listener that they're not used to. And I feel like this album provides a much different feel and vibe than Good Kid, Mad City. It's much more personable, much more unique, much more daring, and much more controversial in terms of the lyrics and the subject matter and the content. It's a completely different concept. He's kind of gone to a level where I thought it would be damn near impossible for a mainstream hip-hop artist to do. He touches and covers so many aspects. He covers about black culture and how he views himself, and discusses how it is to be a black man in today's generation with everything that's going on. In Good Kid, Mad City, he talked more about his upbringing and issues that he faced growing up in Compton, California, and being exposed and surrounded by alcohol and about substance abuse in Compton, whereas this takes on more of a social commentary stance on the issues African Americans are pretty much facing today. Kendrick's conceptual perspectives were much more different. The title, To Pimp a Butterfly, I think Kendrick uses as an inspiration by the very famous book To Kill a Mockingbird. Similar to mockingbirds, a butterfly is a symbol that represents freedom and justice, and pretty much the harmlessness that it has. Kendrick is using the butterfly to depict beauty and simpleness, whereas sometimes people could get the wrong idea of them. Just like how black men are characterized in today's culture. And I think that's where Kendrick is kind of getting at. Sometimes black men are looked down on negatively, while their flaws are always pointed out, while all their strong suits are kind of belittled and disregarded. And instead of really acknowledging their endearing special qualities that they have. And this started off with Wesley's Theory, started off with a catchy instrumental. This track is kind of a metaphor and describes how most black men are characterized wrongly by others, and especially in the entertainment business. Kendrick is saying that people tend to make accusations based on how someone appears before really getting to know the person at a deep level, therefore judging a book by its cover. For Free is an interlude track. Kendrick is talking about his unwillingness to comply with street or pimp life by the record industry, and insinuates that he's not going to be something that he's not. He's not going to sell out in order to accommodate to what people want. He's going to just do him. And then we got to King Kunta. One of my favorite tracks on this is a very catchy tune with a very funky vibe to it. I'm really feeling this track. This was inspired by Kunta Kinte from The Roots. The production and instrumentals are very funky. Personally, this provides a feeling of empowerment and entitlement that blacks deserve, and this really set the tone for this album. This was a heavy track, but also it had such a refreshing vibe to it too that I can actually hear on the radio in terms of sonically speaking. Institutionalized is one track. It had neo soul seasoned artist Bio. This song covers how Kendrick, how he feels like he's constantly brainwashed by the media, and that he feels that we're being corrupted as a society. I love the opening line of this track where he says, what money got to do with it? I don't have a full definition of a pure rap image. I think that was the line. He's pretty much saying how that media manipulates and forces a black man to look a certain way in the rap business, and basically how everything is very manipulated in rap culture. In terms of being a black man, you have to look a certain way, you gotta dress a certain way. That's what he was trying to display in this. These Walls was a very soulful 90s reminiscent feel to it. This is a very complex, abstract song that kind of goes over your head. It shows the good and the evil, what us as human beings experience. This explores into the contrast of sex, emotions, and also the path of Kendrick's career and what he's been going through to get to where he's at currently. But yeah, pretty much what Kendrick is saying is that we all have demons going through us, and how that they never shut up, and that it's our job to stop them and from stop them from overtaking us. And this was just such a powerful message, and that you kind of have to fight through whatever's going on with you, and that also You is also one of my favorite tracks. He talks about certain negative thoughts that he's experiencing. Alright was another killer track produced by Pharrell Williams. Was another favorite as well, which kind of shows an immense amount of emotion that Kendrick is displaying. He always, his flow and tone sounds like his voice is cracking a bit. Mama was another track that I loved. I love the production, and I loved how he talked about how he was saying how money is more of a temporary pleasure, and that your problems are still present regardless when you go back to where you're from originally. That your problems are still there. You can't just expect for your problems to go away just by buying stuff and by having money with you. Hood Politics was absolutely amazing. I love this track from start to finish. The lyrics entail more of a literal politics of how people in the world converse. The Blacker the Berry, heavy track. This focuses more on controversial stances again, and this is a completely monstrous track in terms of his flow, the content, the lyrics, the emotion. I can't get enough of this track. And then we got to which I wasn't initially a huge fan of at first. I was a little bit skeptical of it. Not that I didn't like it, but it was kind of different for Kendrick. And I kind of feel like this version, the extended version, is much more superior. I think this is a live version, and I'm really digging this a lot more than the initial version. This is more of an up-tempo track that delves into Kendrick's personal outlook and on the world. This pretty much covers the lack of self-love in the streets of Compton, which displays insecurity, which kind of leads to self-hatred among yourself and others, pretty much. And this has won him 2 Grammys. And this is definitely, I think this is already received a significant amount of mainstream exposure. And the last track we got to was Mortal Man. Is a track where Kendrick is having a conversation / interview with the one and only Tupac Shakur. The excerpts of this conversation was kind of taken from an interview from Pac in a Swedish interview in 1994. This felt so real and surreal, this interview, pretty much as if they were having a real conversation, and I couldn't get enough of this, man. This was really deep. Kendrick realizes that he's pretty much the new voice of today's generation, and how he's pretty much the next in line and the successor of Tupac Shakur, to pretty much inspire others and to inspire the youth and to be a role model and figure for teenagers, and to change the way that we look at ourselves and our society, and what we can do to make our society a better place to live at. And this album right here is a game changer. I feel like this is gonna really change the way we look at things. Not only is this gonna change music, but also culture. And what Kendrick is doing, I really applaud. I feel like he's really becoming a prominent voice in today's hip hop has established himself to be pretty much today's generation of Tupac Shakur. But yeah, man, I loved this project. This is probably hands down one of my top 10 favorite hip hop albums of all time. This was a flawless album. The only thing that I was a little bit concerned about was that there's a track titled Untitled that he performed at the Colbert Show, and for some reason it's not on this, which I was kind of disappointed by. Hopefully, some bonus tracks will be released, and hopefully that specific track will be on the album. If not, that's fine. I mean, I'll take what I'll get, so I'm fine with what I got with this album. This is a fantastic album. Please, if you want to listen to some real good quality hip hop with a powerful message, with uniqueness, with originality, with something that can be impactful to our culture and something that can change the way we look at things, please listen to this. You will not regret it. Thank you for tuning in. I'm gonna see if I'll be reviewing next. I'm gonna see what albums I'm gonna be reviewing. But yeah, thank you. Comment, like, subscribe. Right. Peace.